14th November 2024. This is my log for my recent out-of-body experiences and meditation practices. Since my last log, there have been many new experiences that I thought it would be nice to just to read it out from my journal instead of thinking and saying it, because it would be clouded already with my many days that has passed. Here we go. So OBE 51, it was on 20th October 2024, and it happened somewhere around 8 a.m. in the morning. I was in my apartment bed in Tallinn. And the exercise that I did was, before falling asleep, I lay on Savasana posture and did the energy balloon exercise. Then I repeated affirmations in my mind for all my family members and gradually fell asleep. I woke up around 5 a.m. and decided to try to have an OVE, and instead I just fell asleep. But around 8 a.m., there was a dream conversion which led to multiple exits. The first exit. As I realized that it was a dream, I set out of body now, and the dream collapsed. Then I appeared in another dream, and as soon as I realized that it was also a dream, it collapsed as well. Then I felt my body become very, very light, and I heard some voices of some people talking around like in a dream, but I did not care, and I still got out of my body. Then I approached the window and opened it, but it was just closed again for some reason. Then I opened it again and jumped out. And as I was jumping out, I said, "Higher self now." And I had a feeling of rising up. This sensation of upward movements lasted for about 5 seconds and then stopped. Everything was very dark, but there was a circle or a sphere of white light high up above, and I wanted to move towards that light. And as I kept trying to move upwards, I asked myself, where is my higher self? Is that my higher self? And I didn't get any answer. Instead, soon I got back to my body. The second exit, I felt my non-physical legs moving like a pendulum, left and right. Then I was rotating cylindrically in my sleeping position. Then I knew that I could get out, so I rolled out again and jumped out of the window, and it was still all dark. I said that I wanted to meet my guide, and there was a click. I did not meet my guide or anyone. I appeared in a garden-like space instead. I wanted to go towards my guide, but saw that in the opposite direction to where I was moving, there was a sun-like light in the distance. So I tried to go towards the light, but it was very difficult to move towards it, as if I was being pulled to the opposite direction of that sun. Then I gave up that idea of going towards that light and moved to where I was being pulled, and it became easier. But then I was soon back in my body. Third exit. I got out of my body and I was able to see my non-physical hands. They were more like white color, and I could see very fine lines of the palm, and they were glowing. There was a small mark on my right hand that I do not have in my physical hands. I did not know what that was. I observed it for a moment and then continued to move out of my room. By opening the door on my right side, the direction of the door hinge was opposite than the physical counterpart. Instead of the right inward in the physical, it was in the left opening inward, if that makes sense. Then I got out of the door and to the kitchen area and turned left and went towards the balcony. And I jumped out and grabbed the tree branch to land softly on the ground. Then I started walking around. I saw some people walking in both directions, and a boy approached with his bicycle. We did a high five, and he continued going his way. I continued going my way. Then I thought, higher self, where is my higher self? But at the same time, I felt being pulled back to my body, and soon enough, I was fully back. I tried to roll out again, but my physical body moved at this point. So that was the end of going out that day. So OBE 52. So OBE 52 took place on 24th October 2024. So that morning I woke up around 4 and I decided to have an OBE. I lay in Savasana posture and tried to remain awake as much as possible to reach the mind awake, body asleep state. After a momentary entry into the unconscious state, I heard the ear pulsations, and when it turned into a continuous ringing, I was able to separate myself from my physical body. I woke up and sat upright on the bed, but I was not able to move my legs at all. They felt stuck with the physical body somehow. Then I thought of pulling myself out of my body, holding the table on the left side of the bed. And as I did that, I momentarily stood up on the floor. Then I felt pulled back to my physical body. And I entered my body with a very loud thud or shake as I felt I fell into my body. Yeah. I tried two more times to get out, but both times it felt like I was just moving my physical body, and then I stopped trying at all. OB53 took place on 25th of October around 5:30 a.m. in the morning. Before falling asleep, I played the Focus 10 on the Expand app with the timer set for 2 hours. Simultaneously, I played the OB alarm on my phone. Then as I lay down, I created an energy balloon around me and fell asleep, repeating the affirmations: out of body now, I meet my guides now, please take me to my source and higher self now. And this had been my routine before sleeping those days. Then I had multiple exits from my body. So the first exit, it felt a little difficult to get out. Then I used my non-physical hands to hold the non-physical table on the left side of the bed and pulled myself out. I saw that everything was dark. Then I approached the window, jumped out and said, higher self now. Nothing happened and I was back in my body. So the second exit, I rolled out of my body again and pulled myself completely out by holding the table. I went out to the window and said, higher self now, and jumped out. Again, nothing happened, but this time there was a building in front of my apartment. And on the top, I saw a person looking at my window, and the person was almost like a shadow being, but I couldn't make sense if that was my shadow being guide or who was that. I went close to this person and I wanted to talk, but he or she didn't reply. Then I wanted to go up close, but I couldn't rise up to the top of the building. And at the same time, I saw a baby elephant on the ground. I asked the elephant to push me up to the top of the building, and it did push me up, and I reached to the top, but this person and two others entered my room through the window. From the top, I sent a protective energy to my room just in case. Then I went closer to see if they were in, but there was nobody except my physical body sleeping on my bed. And at the same time, I got pulled back into my body, probably because I was too close. Then the third exit. I rolled out, approached the window, and jumped out. It was still dark. I said I want to meet my guide, but nothing happened. Then I used the tree branch to pull myself to the top of this tree, and I tried very hard to see around. It only helped a little, and I saw the same elephant again. Then I approached it and started talking, but it didn't understand me. So I said, you can just speak with your mind. Then it was able to understand me. And I said, what's your name? And the elephant says, my name is Toto. We started walking around the building complex area and we talked about various things as we walked around. Then I asked him again for his name. I said that I'm asking again just so that I can remember it. He gave me his name again, Toto. Then I got back into my body. So the fourth exit, I rolled out of my body, went to the window, jumped out, held the tree branch and pulled myself to the top. Then I said, I want to meet my guide. Again, nothing happened. From there, I looked around and I saw three people walking together. I approached them. The third person ran away for some reason. The two remaining were a man and a young girl, probably his daughter. We started to walk together through the alley and it felt like I knew them somehow. And I told them something about themselves, which did not make them so happy. They tried to hold me. And at the same time, I saw extremely tall buildings on every side around us, and I suddenly felt that it could be a trap for me and I may not be able to escape from there. So I rose up and got away from them, but they were not able to rise up, and soon I was back in my body. But this didn't make sense because nothing can harm us when we're out of our body. But the feeling of being there and seeing in the circumstance that something is wrong, it's just a feeling. But as I think about it now, there was nothing to be afraid of. I would be back in my body, always, as always. Anyways, the fifth exit. Before getting out, I thought, what if I demanded to meet my guide? I rolled out and stood next to the window. Then I hit the table next to the window and yelled, I want to meet my guide. Again, nothing happened. Then I opened the door to my right side, but there was another door behind, so I closed it, opened the window instead, and jumped out. I did not feel any upward or downward movement, so I started to walk, and suddenly I entered a clique. I appeared in a place where some children were playing football, and after walking for some time, I found myself sleeping in an open area, and there were people around. They were talking within themselves and wanted to take me away from there. I said that I don't want to go away, that this is my home. Then I suddenly understood how it feels to be attached to a place. I realized that wherever I go, I will take something and I will leave something behind. Then I entered another clique. I appeared at a place where I saw my family and my relatives, and the previous experience felt like past life, the previous before the click. I told them about it. I also told them about my out of body experiences. I said that first I was afraid, then I realized that I would be going home, so it would be all right. And they said that it's nice that we can all learn through these experiences. And then I got pulled back into my body. So, OBE 54. This took place on 27th of October, around 4:20 or something like that. The exercise before falling asleep, I played the Focus 10 on the Expand app and set the timer for 2 hours. I also played the OBE alarm on my phone, and then lying down, I created an energy balloon around me, and I fell asleep, repeating the affirmations: out of body now, I meet my guides now, please take me to my source, higher self now. Then the experience. There were multiple exits this time as well. The first one, I got out of my body, out of the window, held the tree branch and went to the top. I said, higher self now. Well, nothing happened. Then I said, I want to meet Janat. Please take me to Janat. So Janat is a guide that has been helping me to explore different non-physical spaces or non-spaces. I kept saying, I want to meet Janat for a few times, and I started to rise up slowly, and gradually the speed kept on increasing, and I was also feeling the upward movement. And at the same time, with the changing speed, I heard a noise, like a wind noise, but the pitch of the noise was also going up as I was going up. Then a click happened. Then I found myself in a space with many classroom-like rooms. There were many people who appeared to me like musicians waiting to meet teachers or producers. I asked around for Zanat there, and a person told me to ask inside a room. So I entered the room and saw a woman next to a desk, and I asked her that I wanted to meet Zanat. She told me something quite interesting. She said, nobody has asked for this name here for a long time. How do you know him? Then I said, he communicated with me and guided me to explore the afterlife park, but the connection was poor and I couldn't continue with this communication. He has been helping me and I want to meet him. She asked me to follow her. We went through the passages. I saw that this building was a 3-storied complex with an open space and a courtyard inside. From the courtyard ground, we climbed up to the second floor, and she quickly entered a door that I did not see. I climbed to the third floor and tried to enter through the leftmost door, but I was not able to enter inside. Then I went down to the second floor's leftmost door, and there I saw a man who allowed me to go in before him. And I saw the woman again and followed her. Soon we arrived at a big place with what looked like a fighting ring at the center, and she pointed a man sitting in a judge or master like position at the center and said, there is Zanat. So I was a bit confused, but nevertheless I went close to him and I was invited to enter this ring. Then I realized it was not a fight, it was a dance. I started dancing as well with the others there, and I was still not happy that I was not able to meet Janat yet. And after dancing for some time, I saw a woman who looked completely different than the rest. She appeared somewhat cartoon-like. She felt like Paprika from this 2006 movie, Paprika. After changing some partners during the dance, I started to dance with Paprika, and I noticed some dark particles inside her. So I encouraged her to sing with me, and we started singing and dancing at the same time, and the dark particles exited out from her body. Then I was back in my body, and I did not get to meet Zanat like I would have wanted, but I'm not sure if this cartoon-like character was Janat, or this whole scenario was Janat, I don't know, or it could have been a test for me. Anyways, the second exit, I felt that I could get out, so I rolled out of my body and stood next to the bed. It felt much like my physical body. I did a pinch test, and after confirming that I was not in my physical body, I jumped out of the window. Everything was light and clear. I went to the top of the tree and I saw golden morning sun rays on the buildings. There, people walking around. I thought about Janat, but the place caught my attention. I tried to move forward, but it was not working somehow. I thought of generating some energy to be able to move forward, like Newton's law, like how rockets move. So I pointed my closed right hand first towards a point in front of me and squeezed my hand slightly. And I saw that by doing this, I could create a localized wind-like force. I even thought, how can there be wind in the non-physical space? Anyways, using this force, I moved forward. I wanted to further test this energy motion and went down to a crossroad and tested this new technique, pointing my hand inside a shop. The objects inside the shop started moving in a swirling motion. The shopkeeper seemed confused as he noticed objects moving around. I didn't want to cause further confusion, so I floated away. After testing this directed energy motion in a few different places, I got pulled back into my body. Then I tried to roll out of my body again, but instead my physical body moved, and then I realized I was fully back in my body, so no more point in trying. OBE 55. This took place on 3rd November 2024. That day I decided to not do anything and just keep on trying to have an out-of-body experience. Around 2 p.m., I was sleeping on my left side and I felt my legs swaying freely. I tried to roll out of my body and it worked. So the first exit, I got out, it was all dark. I moved around the room a little bit and then approached the window and tried to open it. It did not work. I couldn't find the window where it should have been, and then I was back in my body. And second exit. Again, I rolled out and approached the window, opened it, jumped out and said, "Higher self now." I started to rise up, and as I did, from the total dark space, it changed to a faint gray space. Then I saw a 2D outline or a drawing of a structure looking like a fish. Anyways, I continued rising up for a few more moments, then I was back in my body. Third exit, I rolled out of my body. It was not clear, but slowly it became clear. I approached the window and noticed that the window was different. There was a mirror at the center of the window, and I saw my reflection and noticed that I had glowing green eyes. Strange. Then I looked around the room once more and opened the window and jumped outside. I went to the top of the tree, and from there I saw many people on the street. It was a different place and nothing like the street outside of my apartment. I thought, higher self now. But nothing happened. Then I said, I want to go meet my guide now. Again, nothing happened. Then I shouted to the people that I was seeing around, "Oi!" They all looked at me. I was still floating. And I asked them, "Do you know where my guide is? I want to meet my guide. Can you help me, please?" A man volunteered. He came close to me as I floated down. He said that he may be able to help me, so I followed him. I asked his name, and he said it twice throughout the conversation, but I do not remember, something starting with J. I asked him, "Are you still in the physical earth?" And he said, "No, I'm already dead." Then I said, "I think I'll forget your name. How will I remember later if you're already dead?" He said, "My name is something with J. There's my tombstone that you can go and check." And I thought, this is strange. I asked, "Where is the tombstone?" He said, something sounding like Finland, and that they bury the dead body in different place, designated by month. So he said, "I died in April, so there's a place for that, and you can go check out." Then I told him that I've had a hard time remembering conversations while out of body. I'm sure I'll forget this information, and for sure I forgot a lot of the information that we shared. But he said, it doesn't matter anyways. The important thing is that you're here and having this experience, which is true. Then he took me to a place where we went to a house, close to a house. He knocked on the door and an elderly lady showed up. He told her that he was there to meet his friend. She came out hugged me, then hugged him, then she invited us inside. At the same time, a young woman came towards the door from inside. He went in and hugged her, but I did not want to go in because in my mind I wanted to meet my guide. And I felt that he was just there to meet his friend or family, and I felt a bit sad. Then I said thank you to the old woman and left from there, and then I got pulled back to my body. But now that I think of it, it may have been my guide, and I did not recognize. And maybe that's why I got sent back to my body after that. OBE 56. This took place on 5th November 2024 around 3 a.m. So, the night before, I slept repeating the affirmations: out of body now, now I meet my guides, please take me to my source, higher self now. And I woke up around 3 a.m., went to the bathroom, and then continued sleeping with the same set of affirmations. At some point, I changed my sleeping position from my right side to on my back with my left hand above my head. Immediately, I felt ear pulsations starting. I waited for the ringing, and when it did, I was not sure if I could get out. So I tried rolling out of my body, and then I was out and standing in my room. I was able to see clearly with my left eye, but it felt difficult to open my right eye. I thought that I could still continue with both eyes closed if it's easier, and now I remember why it was like that I couldn't open my right eye. So there's this phenomena of proximity effect. So what must have happened is my left hand was probably covering one of my eyes like that, either this side or this side. Then it was reflecting there. Also, sometimes the world seems opposite. So the left hand becomes right hand and right hand becomes left hand. And here, if my left hand was covering my left eye, it could have resulted the opposite experience, that it was my left eye that I could open but not the right eye. I know it sounds a bit maybe confusing, but sometimes things are just opposite in orientation. What I found is not always, but sometimes this happens as well. Anyways, I approached the window, then I opened it. I could feel the window lock handle as I opened it. Then I jumped out. It was all dark outside, and I noticed a pull back to my body. So immediately I looked around to remain there. It worked. Then I said an affirmation, which I do not remember, but there was a click following the affirmation, and then I was back in the same spot. Then I thought, let's try thinking about the body to see if it brings me back. I said, back to my body now. And immediately I felt like a magnetic pull, which brought me back completely to my body. Yeah, so this experience also was like an experiment to test out thinking about body. Before this, I had not done the thinking about my physical body experiment like voluntarily or wanting to see how it would work. And I had been not wanting to come back to the body, but just thinking not wanting to come back to the body did bring me back to the body. But this time I did do this test and it works. So this has been my recent experiences, and there's certainly much more things to learn and to understand how to move around, how to meet the guides. And what I feel in this state at the moment is the guides were always there. And also, with my experience, I've noticed they don't always show up. They sometimes remain hidden from our vision or from our experience, but they are there. And maybe I need more meditation and more patience to be able to experience the presence of the guides in a much more vivid and clear way. Nevertheless, a lot of learning has been going on, and it is very exciting. Yeah. See you after the next experience.